Well, it looks like they I guess the tax cut is going to go through. China's happy. Um, a lot of corporations and CEOs are depending on, especially at Christmas time. So run out and buy, Black Friday and Happy Monday, whatever that shit is. But because the corporations need your money, so have a happy Christmas. Spend all your money and worry about it in January to March. How you gonna pay your electric bill? Anyway, but China's happy because these tax breaks is gonna benefit them a lot. It's gonna make them like billions a day, probably trillions a day, because I guess they're getting one of so they get the tax cut, and of course, like if you're like a Trump or somebody, and making $1 million already, it'll benefit you. The average person, it's going to devastate them. There's not going to be any job growth because job growth goes on the education systems. Business just won't come there if they don't have people there that could do the job that they want. FedEx does very well here, and FedEx does very well here because they hire a lot of people to lift boxes. They hire a lot of people to drive. I got cousins that work at FedEx accounting and stuff like that. But she went back to school to be an accountant. The 2 years college to do that, or 4 years, I don't know what she did. But, that's the only way she advanced. So, I mean, and any CEO will tell you that. Any like corporation would tell you that and like like with Kentucky, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna retrain these people. Yeah, they're retraining them to work in the private prison that they open up. What do you have to train somebody to do that? So you get stuck in that type of job, where you're basically got a job where you get locked up. You're gonna take it out on you can't take it out on your boss. You don't want to lose your job, right? You're there for 8 hours or maybe more, maybe less, who knows? So you can't at that time take it out on your kids. Who are you gonna take it out on? People that are in the cage. And since most of them now that are locked up, well, like 60% of them are nonviolent, you got another 20% that are just plain ass crazy. And I'll be honest with you, crazy people are not violent. You really gotta bully them. You really gotta go out of your way to make them go off. You know what I'm saying? Like you always hear about the artistic kid that finally just starts fighting, but he's been picked on. Really, nobody's paid attention. The school might know. Oh, well, he gets bullied. What can you do? He looks crazy. That's probably. I know when I was teaching, I just a few times I was like, because if you say something to the bully, that kid might get killed. So like, and if you say something to the bully mom, will like is a bully. The mom of the bully, she a bully. I bet she gonna start beating on that kid. That kid come to school the next day. Fuck that kid up. Never mind. So, a lot of times you're like, damn, you know, the kid's gonna have to be funny, be able to do some backflips, or something to to distract those people from ass whooping, which I got in trouble for because when you teach them some flips and how to fall and all this, kids put together real quick. Like it's self defense, but they call it karate. But it's like if you're gonna get knocked out, you should at least know. But I had a gym for the gym teacher had a heart attack, so I was in the gym for 2 weeks or maybe 2 months. Then they hurried up and put me in the library. Like, but and I remember the time my mom thinking they really don't want you to teach these kids. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't take long. Like whatever you teach them, like if it's not the in like I was in Mississippi, if it's not really go along with it, like Jim Crow propaganda, or if it doesn't really cause the kids some pain or suffering or something, the parent will undo. You know what I'm saying? They like they would undo they would undo the kids learning like if you wanted a good scientist and mathematician, you might as well forget it because the child's gonna be talking or you know like what they're learning. You know what I'm saying? Their conversation is gonna change, and a lot of parents feel inferior. Like, well, you know, here my A grade sounds smarter than me, but it's not the kid sounds smart or anything. It's just the kid is the information is but they're just gonna be doing things. They're not gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? In school, they don't have to hit. They don't have to get hit. They don't, well, in Mississippi, they can hit them, but they didn't get hit by me. They'd have to go to the principal. I never saw, I had to send this one girl to the principal. She goes around and beat on little, little kids. I was sick of her. Just like her mama and just like her daddy. Her mom and daddy, these kids were victims that young. It's terrible. But anyway, and so it's not gonna it's taking money out of the school more. This tax plan is taking more money out of the school. And the one thing these kids really do, they love to learn. But I know it's a child that gets whooped. I mean, hay makes them like shut down like the thinking thing for a while. They just look at you almost catatonic and shit. Stress, especially, they be stressed out for that next ass whooping. They just and then they come from other classes and all the teachers say, I don't know why that parents don't teach them how to sit down. I'm like, please, bitch. I don't have a problem with them. Sometimes a kid will sort of get up and you're wondering what the fuck's wrong with them. But then they'll sit down. If you don't say nothing to them, maybe they got like their leg fell asleep, you're sitting on it. If you use some common sense or you empathize, like, okay, I've been in the classroom. I've been someplace where, I've been sitting for 20 minutes in a certain position. There might be 20 minutes left, that I have to stay there, but my leg fell asleep. So what? I might draw attention and look crazy. But you don't want a blood clot because you ain't moving around. Never mind. I remember this kid was choking or something. And like without thinking, I was like, talking. And basically teaching is like giving information, so you end up talking because you gotta be able to like give that information to them. Anyway, and I went by, and the teacher superintendent was there, right? And so I went by, I unchoked the kid, and she was like, "Damn, you did good." And there was some other little like thing, like because I just did a little Hymen, and this other kid over here had asthma, and I raised his left hand up and told him to stand up, and then like for some reason his asthma stopped. But I knew that if you could clear, like at least get him to breathe because there's a nurse, but it was like he's like I can breathe, Miss Sinclair. I'm like good. Now, can we answer this question? When someone was like, can we do this math? It's just, whatever it was, even though I was in the library, we were doing something like, I don't remember what it was, but, because it was primary children, so I had pre-kindergarten up to third. And basically, I'll take the same lesson and just, like if it's math, like pre-kindergarten, we're doing numbers, and then I'm third grade. I didn't know they wasn't into multiplication, but they didn't know either. So whatever they did it. I get in trouble for stuff like that. I got in trouble. I like when I was like library, like I substituted for another teacher. She had some problem or something. She had to go somewhere that day, do something I don't remember. But like she was like, "Could you take my class?" And she had a class that kids were just horrible, They're just like, they're ADHD and just off the wall, right? So they're supposed to have a spelling test like in 3 days. So I put them in two lines, boys against girls, because boys and girls like to compete, and they had the paper. They were cheating, but they kept doing the same like 11 or 13 spelling words over again. And halfway through the class, they weren't even looking at the paper. And the girl that was like, I feel bad that I did it to her, but she was like a little instigator. She was up on the board. She realized that the other kids had learned all the words. So anyway, they didn't even realize anyway. And then they're gonna ask me, like, superintendent and the principal asked me, like, they're incorrigible. How did they all did so well in their spelling test? I think they got 100. I was like, I've let them do all that bad cheating and shit. They didn't have to cheat for the test. But spelling test, even if you're reading it and you're reading the word over and over again, because like we had them online, and when they get up to the front, they got to spell the word, and then the other one spells like they had two lists. Then the other one spells the word on the other list, and yeah, after 40 minutes, they're spelling it's the same words over and over again about 400 times each. They got it. And I had a quiet time. I was in the desk, and they were loving it. Those kids were like, they were horrible. Um, they were just like their crackhead parents, and they didn't stand a chance. But that doesn't mean that you have to. They're mammals. Mammals like to engage in play. You got to be able to, be a human. So our school systems are not geared to really educate the kids in an environment that is healthy for them. Because we lose in between that first and third grade. That's where you do most of the damage, and then it carries on. And the damage they do, like keep your head down. They did that. They get the did all day long, and I'd be like la 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 la, because I hate that did. So we come in my room, we la la la. It's like lullabies. You want to put a kid in? Never mind. So anyway, getting back, I digress. Getting back, companies want educated people in their business. They want to be able to have somebody that's in management that they could walk away from, and they don't have to be babysitted. You know that what I'm saying. Anyway, but the tax bill, we're gonna have to repeal it. We're gonna have to impeach. I know Trump is worried about being impeached, right? And he's trying to get rid of the FBI. He wants to fire. There's only one person in the FBI that got that like selected, or he could do anything about, really. Like what is there? 35,000 of them. So I guess you could start firing them. So, do whatever. It'd be a good time to rob a bank. You one of those white supremacists, whatever they are. Go run around with your guns. Police ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah. And plus, like, it's like that Meek thing with that judge with Meek, and where Meek is now doing, like, he's on probation forever. He's gonna do more time for like some bullshit than which is ridiculous. How are you gonna do, like, the original case, the judge only gave you like whatever parole, and maybe like, I think like 6 months to a year, and now they want to give him like whatever to 4 years. It's always a black motherfucker that wants to come down real hard on black people. You know, uh, like this one guy like took me to the grocery store. I now know why he don't have no woman. Cause like the whole time he gonna complain, like I talk too loud. Now I know why Jerry was talking loud all the time. I guess he figured, well, I'm gonna teach you like, yeah, I'm gonna do you like what I'm gonna do to you what I don't like. Well, if I do something that you don't like, and then you doing it, I'm not gonna stop doing it. I did tell him, I'm like, you don't have to fucking yell in my ear. I just talk louder in his motherfucking ear. I'm like, you must not be able to. I'm like, cause I gotta talk over you. So, like, and I see that a lot of that with some of these Christians, this double binding hypocrite shit. You know what I'm saying? But this bitch wouldn't shut up about, like I talk loud, and I'm like, well, I do talk loud. So then I guess you have no excuse for not hearing what the fuck I say. The fuck out of here. The only conversation that they'll have with you is to complain about, you know what I'm saying? Like they want to control a woman. I'm like, they're the type of motherfucker gonna tell you how to wipe your ass and like, look, bitch, I got potty trained at 2 years old. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here. That came along with wiping my ass. But anyway, so we got a fucked up budget that's gonna do harm and devastate the United States. It's gonna be a security problem too, and I don't know how many more people they can lock up, but they're planning on making more private prisons like they did in Kentucky. So opposed to like I guess thousands that the coal industry would hire if it was still up running, fully, and have been replaced by nuclear plants, these coal plants and whatnot. But we don't want to really solve our problems because I don't know if Republicans know it or not, but if you're going along with the corporations, like where are these corporations factories? Where are they making, you know what I'm saying? Like the factories making out these products that we buy, is there a concern to keep those people working? And in China, Japan, and Korea, they're educating their kids. So, you know, they don't, even if they're on like a conveyor belt, they could have these people go from one position to another position to do more than one, job. Like they might come in because I did that type of job, where I went from department to department and do different stuff. You know, and the other ones I couldn't figure out why, but you know, but so we got a budget that's going to benefit. I think China's going to thank Russia for that one. Because like I know when I was in New York when the Russians was coming, it was the Chinese that was working with the Russian mafia. The Russia mafia and the Chinese mafia work together. China has a lot of money. Americans are buying a lot of goods that are from China in those regions. So they're holding a lot of money. They want all the money now, and they have a Republicans saying that's going to give it to them in a way of tax cut. They want to destroy America. They don't like American. They don't like American white Christian because they see him as that Roy Moore type of person. They see him as Trump. They see him as Steve Bannon type of people. And the reason why they think Americans are like these people because, as you know, they've been going over to China. These are the people they see and their opinion on them. I remember this. What was this one Chinese person said? He said you could, because like he didn't believe in being a Christian or whatever, and he just didn't believe it. And the way he believed was cool with me. It was relaxing. It didn't cause him to judge me, criticize me, or tell me how I'm doing something I've been doing for umpteen years wrong. And I'm like, if I'm doing it wrong, get the fuck out of my face. You won't have to see it. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I know, out of sight, out of mind for me, bitch. But anyway, he said, he goes, you could tell there's a flaw in their thinking. Like, cause like a real scientist, he was a scientist type, but he goes, real scientists not gonna believe in something, the theory that will hold no water, and that's when he was talking about religion, because like if you think about it, and um, most people are not theologians. Most people that have not really studied religion. They just go to church and go through a bunch of motions, you know, and really instead of putting their faith, because like one of the things, anyway. So once he saw that he knew they were religion, then he was able to play on. Cause I couldn't figure out, like, wow, how does he just get these people just give him thousands of dollars, and he just telling us. I'm like, your story don't make no sense. It's like don't correlate. Remember, he's like, he goes, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, some people that are very smart, you could have a conversation. They like talking about what they know. So they see the fault. They see the Christianity, like, because like there's different ways of believing in religion, and some of them are not there for religious reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Catholic priest that was pedophile. You know what I'm saying? But the church finds out that he goes to court, whatever. They send him off to South America somewhere, whatever, Africa. But the congregation still stays, and they still let their kids be left alone with the new preacher. But what do? If the child comes out gay, like say this preacher likes boys, and like at such a young age, that's one way to train them, because like your first experience, first orgasm, sometimes that's gonna dictate. Like if your first orgasm was, if you're a guy, was with a man, that's good, and it felt good, you enjoyed it, even and there could be some guilt behind having an orgasm, being raped, causes a lot of women to go click, you know, and you're getting your ass beat, and and or if you're a guy and your first experience is with a woman, you're liable to stay with a woman. So with the child, if the boy comes out gay because he got raped by this this preacher, it could be any man in authority, coach, Boy Scout leader, whatever. Um, then the child will be punished. The child really is a victim. The child will be punished, and that's how they use the child to get in good with the mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll get good in with the mom and dad to get to the child. Either way, anyway, we Trump's going after the FBI. He's saying a whole bunch of stuff. I hope that intelligent people that work in the FBI, 35,000 different people in different places and different jobs or whatnot in the FBI, but the ones that have to deal with intelligence, gather intelligence information, you need to find enough information to link his money laundering straight to Russia, and Russia getting his orders straight from China. Because Russia ain't no rich country, and they would love to see. They laughing because they help elect this motherfucker fool. And if we don't want to deal in reality, and if we don't want to solve the problems at the baseline, You know what I'm saying? Then they're coming in here like it ain't nobody's motherfucking business. And for there to be a war, these racist white ass motherfuckers think it's gotta be something carrying a motherfucking gun because they don't have to be a drop of blood to be dropped for them to lose. And you need to ask Roy Moore about that because he a loser. And thank God. Anyway, I'm disgusted. I'm out. Our justice system is fucked up. Our parole system is fucked up. And we got a fucked up president that want to fuck up shit more. You know what I'm saying? So I hope what? Sad day.